Hello student, I am MB Madam speaking. This is a special class for you and special experience also. So whatever may be, we are all facing the problem due to lockdown. So I avail this opportunity to share some views with you. So far as your course is concerned, we have already started one WhatsApp group and included number of materials of your syllabus. So those who are those who are in touch of that WhatsApp group, I think they are aware of the fact that what the political science department is doing. Whatever may be, today I take this opportunity to discuss little bit about the third chapter of your syllabus. And third chapter is related with three parts of the government, that is executive, legislature and judiciary. Here they included Prime Minister, who is the representative of executive, Parliament, representative of legislature, and Supreme Court, representative of judiciary. So far as Prime Minister is concerned, in India we have parliamentary form of government. And do you know what is the another name of parliamentary form of government? It is prime ministerial form of government. So Prime Minister is all in all. And who appointed the Prime Minister? Prime Minister is appointed by the President of India. But he cannot appoint anybody as the Prime Minister. There are some protocol, there are some practice. Generally, the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha is appointed as the Prime Minister by the President of India. But sometimes an outsider may also be appointed as the Prime Minister, but the condition is that that person must have to be elected from any constituency within 6 months, either in the Lok Sabha or in the Rajya Sabha. Otherwise, he will not remain as the Prime Minister of India. And generally we think that Prime Minister is appointed from the Lok Sabha, but that is not true. Sometimes a member or a particular person may be appointed as the Prime Minister who belongs to Rajya Sabha even. And here we can give the example of Dr. Manmohan Singh. He belongs to Rajya Sabha actually. So whatever may be, and the Prime Minister is a very powerful person in Indian political setup. If we discuss his powers and functions, we will find that he is mainly responsible for the formation of the Council of Ministers. He is the leader of the Cabinet and Council of Ministers. No decision can be taken by the Cabinet or the Council of Ministers in the absence of the Prime Minister. He is also maintaining a link between the President and the Council of Ministers, and he is also the leader of the Lok Sabha. Why he is the leader of the Lok Sabha? Because he is the leader of the majority party in the Lok Sabha. And in that capacity, he controls the activities of the Lok Sabha. Not only that, he is the leader of his own political party and even of the nation. So if a particular person, any person, when he becomes the Prime Minister of India, he should have to think that he is not only a party leader, he is a leader of a particular country. So Prime Minister is playing a very important role in our political setup, and sometimes question is there regarding the role of Prime Minister in Indian political setup. Never try to write in that case only the powers and functions of the Prime Minister. Try to find out what role he is occupying in the political setup of the country and write accordingly. This is my request to you. And secondly, it is the Parliament. So what the Parliament is doing? Parliament is actually responsible for framing laws for the country. And what type of Parliament we have, or what type of legislature we have? We have bicameral legislature. That means we have two houses. Upper house is known as Rajya Sabha and lower house is known as Lok Sabha. But you remember one thing, that by following the parliamentary tradition, our lower house is more powerful than that of the upper house. And so already we have given about the powers and functions of the Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha separately, about their composition. Along with that, you also try to follow that in which respects the Lok Sabha is more powerful than the Rajya Sabha, and which respect Rajya Sabha are enjoying some special power. These are also mentioned earlier. Okay. Then you also try to read about the relation between the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, and also relation between Lok Sabha and the Prime Minister. So try to study all these things also, put stress on them. Then you remember one thing, that one of the important functions of the parliament is to frame laws for the country. And here some procedures are there, or some procedures are followed by the parliament while framing a laws for the country. So there are a number of phases for passing a law, and question may be there, write a note on procedure of lawmaking procedure of Indian Parliament. So first of all, you remember one thing, both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are equally powerful so far as ordinary bill is concerned or general bill is concerned. So far as money bill is concerned, here the Lok Sabha is much more powerful. So for passing of an ordinary bill, the consent of both the houses are necessary, and along with that, the consent of the president is also a must. So those phases are like introductory stage, first reading, second reading, committee stage, report stage. These are the stages we have discussed earlier. You just read it. Then, so these are in a nutshell about the parliament and the prime minister. And so far as Supreme Court is concerned, it is the apex body of our judicial system. It is a very powerful institution. So generally the Supreme Court possesses number of powers and functions or jurisdiction. As for instance, its first jurisdiction is original jurisdiction. So what is the meaning of original jurisdiction? That means the Supreme Court but I can say in another way that original jurisdictions means those cases which are generally tried by the Supreme Court in the first instance. These cases are not solved by any other court. These cases are generally come to the Supreme Court in the first hand. As for instance, if there is a tension or differences between the central government and the state government, if there is any problem between the state government themselves, or if there is any problem regarding international treaty, all these things. So in this type of case, Supreme Court is the sole authority to solve these type of cases. The next one is appellate jurisdiction. So what is the meaning of appellate jurisdiction? Appellate jurisdiction means appeal can be made to the Supreme Court against the verdict of the lower courts. Generally, in those cases where the question of constitution is involved, there we can appeal to the Supreme Court against the verdict of the lower courts. Then our Supreme Court also possesses advisory jurisdiction or advisory function. That means the President of India can seek advice of the Supreme Court regarding any political issue. But here you remember one thing, the President is not bound to accept the advice given by the Supreme Court. Okay? The next one is the most important one, power of judicial review. So what is the meaning of review? Review means to study carefully anything. To review anything or to study carefully anything. So far as judicial review is concerned, here it means that the Supreme Court can review, can examine the laws passed by the Parliament or the state legislatures and study the constitutional validities of those laws. If a particular law passed by the Parliament is unconstitutional, then Supreme Court can nullify it. So this power is known as judicial review. Judicial review means to study the constitutionality of a particular decision or particular law. But here you remember one thing, that generally the Supreme Court never take the initiative to find out the constitutionality of a particular law. If the people or if some person they move to the court to know about the validity of a particular matter, then only the Supreme Court gave its own verdict. So it is the most important function of Supreme Court, that is the power or function of judicial review the activities of the legislature and executive, and if necessary to nullify it. Okay. And last one is, it is most important, that is judicial activism. That means the main function of the judiciary. What is the main function of the judiciary? To give justice to the people. But nowadays, judiciary become very proactive to control the executive and the legislature, where they are not performing their duties properly. If they are officials, or if the government themselves, or even an individual, they are not performing their duties properly, then Supreme Court can instruct them to do the needful. That is known as judicial activism. That means proactive rule of the Supreme Court to protect the interests or welfare of the people. As for instance, nowadays different issues are emerging. As for instance, environmental issues, then issues relating to human rights, issues relating to family problem, breakdown of family, all these things. And that is why number of cases are going to the Supreme Court. These cases are known as PIL, Public Interest Litigation Case. Public Interest Litigation Case, where some people are moved to the Supreme Court and ask them to protect the interest of the people, and Supreme Court also move forward and try to protect the interest of the people by giving direction to the central government, to the state government, to the parliament, to the individual to perform their duties properly. So thank you today.